So, thank you so much for joining us tonight on LCTV, our second edition. We super appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Shannon.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Of course. So, I definitely, have a good chunk of questions for you tonight, and was curious, you two, along when you have your full band as well, are probably one of the most active bands, artists, in our state, in our town. Always seeing you out and about, whether, at events or farmers markets or state fairs or summer concert series. And, everything came to a screeching halt last year. And I'm just kind of curious if you could share with us, how this last year has impacted your creativity, your artistry, and also how you've come to adapt as well. Like, I know you just put out a new single in January. So you could talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so really weird because we did not expect COVID, the pandemic, to be going on still today. Like when we heard people saying, oh, it's definitely going to go through the summer. This was like probably in April that people were saying that. And we were like, what? No way, it's not going to happen. But it totally did. And most of our gigs got canceled. Of course, like in the later summer months when we started getting outdoor concerts figured out a little bit more, we were doing some of those, but it was a huge bummer at the beginning because we had a spring break Colorado tour booked with our full band, and we were going to go out of state a bit in the summertime too, but we had to cancel all those shows. And we did just come out with a single a couple months ago. A couple months ago. No, yeah, that's also a weird thing because time feels really weird right now.
It's true.
Yeah. But I feel like our creativity and just like being inspired to write and even just practice music together has gone down quite a bit. And Noah and I are used to kind of always being busy people. It feels weird when we have like free time at all. So like we're still in school, but before COVID, we would like go to school, then we would teach music lessons, and then when we would come home at like 9 o'clock, we would sit down and just practice music until like midnight, and then do the same thing the next day. But now it just feels really hard to be motivated to do stuff like that.
Yeah, in terms of songwriting, I I've been writing a lot of instrumental music, and for me, it's so much easier to be inspired to write instrumental and just the instrumental parts of Wildwood songs or whether it be something else. The thing that I've definitely struggled with above anything else throughout COVID has definitely been trying to come up with lyrics, trying to be inspired, because a lot of our songs come from stories that we expand on through.
Usually like from touring and stuff, the people that we meet and
Yes.
places we see.
So the lack of experiences throughout this last year has definitely caused a halt on lyric ideas and things to write poetry and stuff about.
But in that sense, I feel like because everything's moving to like a more virtual platform, which is really cool because before this, I was like, we had never really thought of doing like Facebook live streams and stuff. Like every once in a while we would, but now it's like become a regular thing. So I feel like we've been able to become a lot more creative on our social media platforms. And even just like filming 1 minute videos for like Instagram, 1 minute cover songs, or just like when we're practicing, just 1 minute snippets of everything. I think that has been fun to kind of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine, again, seeing you at so many events over the years, and just how you both, and when you're with your full band too, just light up, and you light up so many people as well, because you're such an engaging and I don't know what's the word, in terms of just being able to truly connect to your audience. And as someone who has taken in your music as an audience member, there's definitely, a gap and a need to feel that connection to music. And as, for an artist, I couldn't imagine the flip of that feeling, being able to have to create during a time like that, or needing that, feeling that like that stress and need to still push through and create so you don't completely lose the motivation to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I applaud you for even being able to put out a single as well. How did that single come to be, like My Old Man?
Yeah. I think it was written back in. Um,
It was written in May.
was it written in May?
Yeah. When
Yeah.
we stayed at the house in Michigan.
Oh, right. Yes, Chloe. We have some family that have a little cabin up in Michigan, and we stayed there for a week. Um, we were like all cooped up. Those first few months of COVID, especially when it was cold outside, we didn't go anywhere. We just stayed inside all the time, and we're teaching all of our lessons online, so we literally never left the house. So we were like,
Yeah.
we got to get out of here. We're both going crazy. So we went up to Michigan and worked on some music.
Yeah, and that was actually where, for the Lincoln Calling back in May, we did like a segment as no motion picture,
Right.
and we filmed some of
Yes.
the video footage there because that was when that was happening.
Yeah, that was definitely there. Um, yeah, but I think the song just came to be. I was kind of walking around out in the woods in the morning, walking. Chloe and I have a basset hound named Margaret, and we were just walking Margaret around. Um, and I don't know. I think at the beginning of COVID, everybody was trying to keep in touch with everybody else, all their friends, all their family, but it was hard because I think I definitely found out about myself that I really have to be there with somebody to be connecting with them. I cannot text people. I cannot, do it over the phone. I definitely pull the most connection from being with somebody. So, um, I don't know, just kind of going out in nature and feeling connected to what was around me, I think brought some of those feelings back of being connected with something um, greater than myself. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting to be able to, take that reflection this last year. It's like everyone's kind of figured out, or hopefully, at some point, you've taken a minute to be like, oh, okay, I've reconnected, whether it's with nature or my creative side or maybe professionally speaking, you've been able to kind of do some self reflection to realize maybe something that you weren't connecting with prior to the pandemic within yourself because, again, you're so busy or it just isn't something where all of a sudden you absolutely have nothing that you're connected with anymore. On the day to day, you have that time, like you said, to be able to take those walks and take in just that mental space to kind of self reflect. I'd like to touch base a little bit actually on one of the songs that you shared with us. Chloe, you shared, which thank you, by the way, Little Home, Noah, that you wrote in regards to talking about mental health. I think it's definitely important that, you know, we share the experiences if we're comfortable to um, with the world. And so thank you for sharing that story and that song with us here on LCTV too.
Yes, of course.
Of
Yeah,
course.
that's one
Yeah,
thing that I used to be someone that would not like share the way I was feeling with anybody. And it's hard when you live that way, and then it opens up a whole new world when you finally share with at least one person, or even if it's not a person, if you share with like something that you love to do. So that's one thing that got me started doing that. I had an old poetry professor, Jack Vespa, actually. He inspired me to start writing
I know
poetry.
Jack.
Yeah, he inspired me
Yeah,
to start writing
cool.
poetry and he said whenever I feel down I always just do something creative. So I was like, okay, well maybe I need to start doing that and that will make me feel better. And yeah, I've been doing that since the pandemic started and it's been really great.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful. So you talked about also this song came from living in a tiny apartment in a small living space, sharing a small living space with each other. Do
Hmm.
you have any advice for couples or housemates or anybody else that are experiencing tiny living spaces during COVID times?
Well, I think Chloe and I probably spend a lot more time with each other than a lot of couples do because, a lot of couples go separate ways every morning and they don't see each other till the evening. But, um, except I guess when we're in school. But, college is kind of weird right now because pretty much everything is on Zoom. A couple sporadic classes um, in person. But so we're together all the time pretty much. And
Yeah,
luckily,
even with teaching lessons, like we teach in the next room over from each other, so we're
yeah,
like still together.
I think just making time to talk and making time to have fun with each other. And
Yeah, just
yeah,
like forgetting about, for at least for a little bit, like all the stresses and the important stuff you have to worry about. Just like pushing it off an hour or two, I guess, and just doing something fun. But I mean, we live in a tiny house right now, so it's not that much different from our apartment. It's a little bit bigger. But one thing that we found that we really loved when we moved in was having an outdoor space. That is just so nice to be able to get outside and like, even if you don't have like a house or an outdoor space, just going on a walk. That's, I don't know, that's super nice. Just like having your own alone time, being outside, gardening.
yeah,
I was just gonna say, do either of you garden?
oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah. We
yeah.
had we lived in an apartment for 2 years. And that was kind of our first time living away from home. So we lived there for a few years, but then this last year we've spent at this house, and we got this not huge backyard area, but it's pretty good size. And yeah, we filled the entire backyard as a garden
We
and
did.
had lots of different.
Yeah, our
What'd
neighbor
you have?
across
Oh gosh, we had peppers, potatoes, onions,
cucumbers,
cucumbers,
tomatoes,
squash,
sunflowers.
sunflowers, all kinds of
We
stuff.
had a, well, we were gonna just have a small garden at first, like just to test it out because we had never really gardened before at all. But our neighbor across the street is Jack Rodenberg, and his whole backyard and front yard is like just a garden of a bunch of stuff. So he's like, "No, you guys gotta like do the whole backyard, just do everything." So
Yeah, and our
Just got to go in on it. Yeah.
yeah, it was very overwhelming, but it was so much fun too to like have something to take care of and do over the summer when we didn't really have any gigs or anything.
oh yeah,
Do
definitely
you think you'll be that adventurous in the future?
for sure.
I would love to, but I don't know if we'll have time if hopefully we get more gigs.
Starting at the end of June, we have a pretty lengthy tour booked. Seeing as hopefully things are going. There's a ton of outdoor shows on this tour since it'll be kind of during the nicer months. So we're hoping if that you know it's looking bright still that'll still be happening. But if something does happen and that has to get canceled, I guess we'll spend a lot of time gardening then. But
Get back to gardening.
yeah, there you go.
Where's that tour going to take you? How long is that run?
Yeah, so we're gonna be on the road for I think 3 months, and we're
Yep,
gonna
until the
be
beginning of September. So
yeah, so like
Oh, wow.
2.5 months, I guess. But yeah, so we're gonna I think just kind of make this southern loop, kind of go down, Kansas, go down to Arkansas, and through the southern states, and kind of come back up through some of those northern um,
like
states there.
Minnesota, I think, are we going through there in um,
Michigan. Yep. And I think
Yeah.
we'll come back down, come back home for a little bit. My sister's getting married, and then I think we'll try to go back out to Colorado and stuff after that.
Yeah, a couple months ago we bought a tiny camper RV, and we're in the process. We've had to put it on hold for a little bit because it's been so cold, but we're renovating the inside right now, and we'll just live in that then for whenever we go out and tour, which hopefully will be a lot coming
Yeah.
up.
Cool.
That's
I was just about to ask you guys what the transportation was going to be looking like, if it was going to be something that would be also your lodging. So that's pretty cool.
Yes, Chloe and I are not traveling in a $150,000 Winnebago. We got this. It's like a 1992 small. I think it's
It's
like
a Damon Hornet,
yeah. There you go.
and
Really
Okay.
small
yeah.
RV that we saved up some money for. We were saving, and every day we'd check prices and be like, oh my gosh, RVs are so expensive. We're never gonna be able to save up for one of those nice ones. The one we'll buy will probably break down all the time. But we were driving around the day after Thanksgiving in Gretna with Chloe's mom, and they were doing some shopping, and I was kind of wandering around everywhere we went, and we took a wrong turn, and right on this little used car like lot and like repair place, there was this RV sitting there that looked like complete trash on the inside. And we asked the guy how much it was, and it was literally the exact amount that we had. And we got it for a super, super good
Yeah.
deal. And
And it only has like 14,000 miles on it, which is
Oh,
crazy.
sweet.
yeah,
Yeah.
for 1992.
That's awesome. Yeah, no kidding. So does the RV have a name yet?
Phoebe, right?
We've been debating. but
Deborah?
no one wants to call her
Deborah.
Deborah.
I like Deborah.
Phoebe Deborah when you get mad at it, maybe if it breaks down.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Phoebe Deborah. Yeah, I could totally hear that. So I'm curious when you guys are on the road, so who's the one often behind the wheel?
I pretty
Noah.
much always drive on all of our.
Like the
all of our
whole
trips.
time. I mean, like, you're not against other people driving, but I think it's just like you feel safer when you're driving.
Definitely, but time also, for some reason, time just goes so much faster for me when I'm driving versus when I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there, because I can't, sit there and play on my phone or do something, in the car. It's just not, my brain just like won't allow me to focus on anything else. So, yeah. So I don't know. I've kind of always just preferred to drive our van
Yeah.
right now, but then our RV this summer.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. Do you have any road trip jams that you usually have to have in tow?
So many things.
Well, I feel like sometimes I get really sensitive to music, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. But when I'm
Yeah.
when I'm in the mood for music, for sure, Beatles are like my favorite band. So we'll throw Beatles on, or Radiohead for sure is a good second for us, or a lot of Joni Mitchell, a lot of Crosby, Stills and Nash. When I'm in the mood a lot for jazz and whatnot. Matthew Halsell is one of my favorites. He's like a UK trumpeter that's kind of making his ways through jazz right now.
Yeah,
And,
when we would tour in our, which is the only vehicle we've toured in so far, but our van, our big van, it only has a cassette player and a radio, I guess, but no like aux cord. So
Mhm.
we packed a bunch of cassettes like the Beatles, Neil Young, Led Zeppelin. Just
Yeah.
trying to think of a few. We got the like little converter thing where you can plug your phone in though, but it doesn't always work the greatest.
Pretty static, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
vibe.
it can be
It's a vibe.
frustrating.
Yeah.
So I got to ask then with the Beatles, because I'm a big Beatles fan as well. And this is a question that I always get challenged with whenever I'm asked. What is your favorite Beatles song?
Favorite Beatles song. Wow. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Oh gosh.
Mine is Strawberry Fields, probably.
Nice. That's
There you
fast
go.
and impressive. Cool.
I'll say a few.
Phew.
I think A Day in the Life.
That's usually my answer too. Yeah.
I think A Day in the Life. Last song, Sgt. Pepper's. That's probably the song that had the most effect on me out of any Beatles songs. But I'm Only Sleeping from Revolver is also another one of my favorites. And In My Life off of Rubber Soul.
Mm-hmm.
These are all John songs. So John is obviously my favorite.
I was just going to say, I'm taking it when you get asked the question, John or Paul, you'll say John.
John all the way.
Yeah.
John, I think John.
You have a tattoo of him on.
I do, yes, one of my wrist tattoos.
Really?
John's self-portrait right there.
Nice.
Yeah. I think people ask me that, and I think John's songs are just more soulful, and I think they're just more out there. I think Paul. Obviously, I'm not saying, oh, Paul McCartney sucks. What the
Don't
heck?
let our
Don't even-
bass player loves Paul McCartney.
Oh, yeah,
He's
Andy.
gonna fight you if he hears this.
Paul is definitely my my third favorite Beatle, but and his songs are very, very amazing. But I think John takes the cake on that one.
Yeah. Is George your second?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I think
I was just going to say.
Oh yeah, something. I don't know. Every Beatles album has that one George song that just hits you in the face. I don't know. Beautiful.
I'm curious, do you guys remember the first song that you wrote with each other?
Yes.
The only place I want to be is in your arms. The only world I want to live in. It's only me and you.
Sounds like a reggae
and I
song.
love
It does a little bit, yeah.
something like that.
Man, yeah,
Sweet.
I remember that song.
Yeah, I don't remember
Do you
what it
remember where you
was.
were?
Yeah, we were at Chloe's parents' house, I think, in her basement,
Yeah, that's where we used to have band practice when we were like 14.
and
Oh, sweet.
I think I had like started a little section, and I think Chloe had also a little section of something, and we were like, what if we just like
Yeah.
put them together? And that's kind of how that first song came to be.
Yeah, I remember we came up with harmonies for that. And we like back then harmonies were not our thing at all, but I was so proud of us cuz those simple harmonies on that song. I just think about it every once in a while.
Yeah.
Now, were you two dating already, or were you just friends at this point?
We, here's the story. We were we were in eighth grade, and I was invited to a birthday party in this one backyard, and Chloe was invited to a birthday party that was in the backyard directly behind this other backyard. Because those two friends were like rivals,
Yeah.
trying to have the better birthday party because they weren't invited to each other's. And Chloe was on this like playground thing with all of her friends, and I was like jumping on the trampoline with all my friends. Then I just like was waving at her, Chloe, Chloe, Chloe. And
I was like, who is this guy waving? I did not think you were waving at me.
and I think one of her friends like gave me her iPod text number or
Yeah,
something like that.
I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16. So I could only like message on my iPod.
And then I think I text. Now this is like 14-year-old cringe stuff, and I think I just texted her and was like, "Hey Chloe, this is Noah. Do you want to be my boyfriend or do you want to be my girlfriend or something like that?" And
Yeah. And I
she
said, yeah.
she said yes. Like I don't know, and without really
Like,
knowing each
sure, why
other at
not?
all,
Yeah.
and we a little we kind of got to know each other now. So
Yeah, we were friends. I would say that we were friends like the first. I mean, we really didn't, even though we were dating, we really didn't speak to each other like the first 2 months we were dating because we were so shy around each other. And then eventually we both discovered that we played music, so that kind of got us out of our shell. And
and
yeah,
here we are 9 years later.
yeah.
So
That's awesome. I love it. Thanks for sharing that with us.
of course.
I noticed you, I mean, you both, and with your full band too, just excel when it comes to covering artists. I can definitely get super picky when it comes to cover songs by bands. And every single time I hear you, whether it was The Cure or the Jackson 5, you do such an incredible interpretation where it not only honors the artist and the original track, but then you also put such a unique, sweet spin where you know it's the Wildwoods performing. I'm curious as to what other artists or songs really inspire you that you like to cover as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I really, when picking out covers, that's one of the hardest things because there's so many artists and so many songs we love. It's like hard to start somewhere. But I feel like at least over the pandemic, we've gotten better about just like first thing that comes to mind, we're just going to sit down and try to do that song together. And the Cure song actually came from a cover that I had heard of it from Phoebe Bridgers. So I heard her do a cover and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so cool. We should do that
Mm-hmm.
song too. Cause I had never like even, I don't listen to The Cure that much.